So today we're here with Chris Bilski, okay, Esports Director of Michigan State, one of the top programs in the nation. So Chris, thank you for your time, and for sure, like a lot of international students are gonna benefit from this information that you're gonna share with us today.
Excellent. Thank you for having me. I'm always excited to kind of share what we're doing at Michigan State, especially when it comes to like international students and possible opportunities we might have for them on campus.
Nice, nice. So like no for like students to know about a bit about you, like when like how do you get to esports director? Like what has been your trajectory until this moment?
Yeah, so I started out probably 7, 8 years ago. I
Mhm.
started out actually in esports journalism. So I wrote mainly about League of Legends, but I traveled across the country. I did a little bit in Europe as well, like reporting when Worlds was there. It was 2019, I believe that was. So yeah, I had the opportunity to go around covering different esports events, meeting different people, and through that, I got an opportunity to coach at a local college. Really enjoyed doing that. That was probably 3 or 4 years ago, and now here we are full time director at Michigan State.
Nice. And also, like, when was the program established in Michigan State?
So we've had a student run club on campus for about 6 years now. So they've
Mhm.
been doing work and competing and kind of hosting events, doing all of those things themselves. My hire was really the start of the official university sponsored varsity program at Michigan State. And so I was brought in August and we'll be launching our varsity teams for the first time ever this upcoming fall.
Nice. Okay. And do you also like a lot of full-time staff, or it's more like giving the students opportunity, like for them to develop the esports program as well, or you have a balance?
Yeah, it's kind of a combination of both, right? So we'll be fielding games in Rocket League, Smash, and Valorant. Those will be our three varsity titles, and for each of those titles, we'll have a coach for the game, and we do also have a full time coordinator that works with me as well. Um,
Mhm.
but as much as possible, we love getting our students involved. So if there's a role within the program that I can, allow a student to get some real life experience to build out their portfolio, build their resume, whether it's social media or doing casting or, you know, lots of different opportunities and roles within the program that students can actually help with.
Nice. And what are some of the roles, the positions that a student can work in?
Yeah, so social media is a big one. So when I'm talking about social media, there's actually a few different things that can go into that. Creating graphics for our social media, creating videos for our social media. So if you like
Mhm.
making short content, whether that's based around game highlights or just fun content, doing those things for social media. If you want to do the play-by-play and the casting, so if you want to be actually in front of the camera doing the calls for our varsity program games, you can do that. If you'd rather be behind the camera and actually doing the production side, switching scenes, doing things
Mhm.
like that, there's roles for that there too. We also need people to help run our events. So we host a lot of events on campus, and we have even more coming. So events that have hundreds of people competing in them. And there are people that we need to help run stations or help plan things out. So if you're interested in being in an esport event role, there's plenty of opportunities for that for you as a student. And then lastly, we're going to have, they're currently under construction, but we'll have two brand new esports facilities on campus, and we need people to help run those facilities. So if you'd like to be kind of an arena manager and help with the day-to-day things that go on with that, there's positions for students there as well.
Nice. Like all this, like interest, like so. How did the program go to varsity? Was it like the students demanding the university? Was it the university wanted to go competitive or have this prestige, or like what was the main reason for the that step?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of both. So one, we just have this massive amount of student interest on campus. Our student club on campus for esports has over 1,000 students in it, right? So, and they play 14 different games. So if you're interested in a certain game title, we probably have a club for you for that game title at Michigan State University. But so Michigan State sees that, they see all this student interest, and they're like, what can we do to support that interest? COVID kind of pushed some plans back a little bit, but coming out of COVID, we were like, this is something that's important to Michigan State University. So bringing me on, they're like, we know we want to do this. How do we do it? Right? What should it look like? And that's why I was hired, to kind of set the foundation, set the vision. We've been building for this past year to try to get everything ready to really go 100% this fall.
That's great. That's great. And also, like, let's. I want to focus this question like more in the varsity team. Like, what it would be like a day to day, like a routine, both academic, esports of a student in a
Yeah.
varsity team there in Michigan State.
So you really are student athletes when you're at Michigan State, right? Academics is something we take very seriously. Michigan State is a really good school. We have some of the top rated programs in the entire country when it comes to things like we have the #1 rated game design program for a public university in the United States. So we have some really, really good programs. So student first. So the beginning part of your day, most of the early part of your day will be going to class and working on homework, right? And making sure that you need to get what you need to get done academically. Our practices are usually afternoon evenings. So anytime from like 6 to 10 o'clock, depending on everybody's schedule. Most matches tend to be around 8. So that tends to work pretty well. But typically in a week, you'll have 2 to 3 scrims. You'll have a day for film review. So we actually will sit down and either watch our own play or watch our opponents. There is a fitness and nutrition aspect to our program as well. There's been so many studies done that, the healthier you feel, the better you play, right? And so we're really into this idea of healthy body, healthy mind. That doesn't mean we're quote powerlifting, right? We're not necessarily powerlifters, but we like to get active as a team. And we like to talk about what we're eating as well. So there's a fitness and nutrition aspect of it. But for an athlete, like you're looking at probably around 15 hours a week that are committed to the esports program. That includes your practices, matches, film review. We travel a lot too. So there will be some weeks that it's a little bit more because, maybe we're traveling to the other side of the country or whatever it might be. But yeah, roughly 15 hours a week.
Nice. And for the like athletic part, like how many times a week do you work as a team, or you go running, or you do like athletic activities?
Yeah, so we try to do one team, like athletic, kind of get active as a team all together once a week. But outside of that, you're looking at usually 3 to 4 times a week you're meeting as a team.
Nice. And you also mentioned the nutrition aspect. Like, so you have a nutritionist that guides students in what is healthy to eat for the performance and everything. Or how does
Yeah,
that
so
work?
it's not just, us talking about it. It's also like us as a program making sure that we have healthy options available to you, right? So maybe we have some fruit in the arena or there's waters around, right? So if you want to make healthy choices, they're really easy for you to make.
Okay, that's great. That's great. And you mentioned that you travel. How many LAN events or tours did you like in 1 year?
So our goal is that we do 2 LAN events per team per semester. So we look to do potentially 4 LAN events per team per year. Some teams do a little bit more, just like for Smash, because it tends to be an in-person game, right? Like they tend to have more in-person events.
Mhm.
But our goal is that each team gets at least 4 events they go to a year.
That's great. That's great. And also, do you get to travel internationally, or that's more in the future?
Actually, if we have the opportunity, we're right by Canada. So, we've been invited before and there's the potential that we may be doing some Canadian events. And then, yeah, if we ever got invited to come across the Atlantic to a tournament in Europe, we'd love to do that.
Nice, nice. And for for a student that is potentially going or thinking about going to Michigan State, like what is it expected of him once he if he's part of the program? What is expected, like behavior wise, academically,
Yep.
like in esports, like what is expected? What do you expect from a player that is representing your program?
Yeah. So first, academically, we do have a GPA requirement in that like all of our students need a 2.5 to compete. And the reason for that is that your ultimate goal if you're coming to Michigan State University is that you get a great education that serves you for the rest of your life. And so we want to make sure that you're doing the things that you need to do so that you can graduate, because graduation is that real ultimate goal. Um, but aside from just the academic, requirements to go with it, for us, it's really important for our students to understand that they're representing Michigan State University in everything that they do, whether that's social media, whether that's in person, online, Discord, wherever it might be, right? You are being a representative of Michigan State University when you're part of our program. So we do actually have an esports code of conduct that students sign just to talk about kind of our rules. In the most basic way, it's like respect each other, respect yourself, respect the equipment, right? Like that's kind of the main three basics, but everybody signs it and we just make it very clear that, yeah, you're representing the university.
That's great. And what are the soft skills that you look in a player, especially those you're giving scholarship to? Like, what are the
Yeah. So for us, like we are a program that does require students to be in person. So when it comes to
yeah.
talking about like soft skills, that's something that like our hope is, okay, so I went to school for 4 years, got my education and all of that, right?
Mhm.
And I was a political science major. There's a lot of stuff that I learned outside of the classroom that has served me really well for the rest of my life, right? Like the things that I was involved in, being a part of a team allowed me to be a good communicator, how to get along well with others, be a part of a group, right? All of those soft skills are things that regardless of what you're studying or regardless of what you go into as a career are going to be valuable for you down the line. So that's why we're really big on being an in-person program, and we think it's super valuable for our students to be sitting right there next to each other and being together when we go
Mhm.
to events that we do a lot of events outside of things like we're going to go to a movie or we're going to go to this sports game, right? Like a basketball game or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
We do a lot of that stuff because we want you to grow as an individual. Um, because that's stuff that's really going to be important down the line.
Nice. And from studying political science to esports journalism, how was this? I think like you did it always as a side thing, and then it became like a.
Yeah, so when I was in college, right, like esports really wasn't a thing, like especially collegiate esports wasn't a thing yet.
Mhm.
I had already graduated from college by the time the first scholarship was offered. And so for me, like I grew up playing sports. I played hockey all the way through college. But when I would get done with my hockey practice, I'd go back to my dorm room and I was playing video games with my friends. And so when I got out, I got into the workforce. I had a regular job, just, doing whatever for a few years. But what I was really passionate about was this esports thing, right? That was kind of exploding, and specifically collegiate esports. So I was like, how do I do that? Like that wasn't even a thing when I was in college, but now that it is, I'm like, I would love to do that. And the easiest thing that I could do right off the bat was like write journalists, like write articles, talk about the analytics of what's going on in different games or big picture things. And so I started doing that for a while, got hired as a salary writer for a company based out of the United Kingdom and kind of went for there.
That's great. That's great. And where like do you see like esports in Michigan State having its own like department? Like now it's under athletics, but you see it like spreading. Like I'm being like another the department with all the 14 titles you have. Like it exists like 14 other sports, but like in video games.
So
You see that in the future, or you?
yeah, so right now we're technically under what's called the College of Communication Arts and Sciences. So we're not under athletics, but
Okay.
the reason that we're under there is because the career aspects that can be tied to esports is really important to us. You know, I talked earlier about opportunities for students to get involved in our program, get paid to work for us, right? And do our social media and things like that. That's really important to us, and we mean it when we say it. And so that is why we're currently under the College of Communication Arts and Sciences. We have the opportunity to collaborate with athletics, potentially use athletic facilities for events and things like that. Uh, but as far as where do I foresee Michigan State esports going? This is just the beginning, right? We wanted to start smaller, take a few things and do them really well, and then build off of that, right? We wanted a solid foundation that we could spread from. And so, yeah, in the future, I could definitely see more games potentially being added to our program. Um, an expansion of different staff and the number of events that we go to. I think this is really just square one or the start for Michigan State esports.
Nice. And also like there's some students like interested in like studying more like esport business and other branches. Like, does Michigan State have like esports academically for
So we
students
do have a
interested?
few classes that are related to esports, but I'll tell you that my advice for anybody who wants to do a specific role within esports is to study that role in general, right? So like if you're interested in my job, right? I would say that you should go get not an esports management degree, but get a sports management degree and then apply that to esports, right? Maybe you make your senior project about esports or whatever that might be. And the reason is that in a way, if you're just doing an esports management degree, I guess I'll put it this way, right? There's no job in esports that you could get with an esports management degree that you couldn't get with a sports management degree, right? But out in the world, there may be jobs that you can get with a sports management degree that you can't get with an esports management degree. And so for me, by having that sports management degree, you're not limiting yourself to just esports related things.
Nice. What are the like most popular majors around the students in the esport program?
Yeah, so some
What would
very
you say?
popular majors we have. Computer science is a really
Mm,
popular major. Our computer science program is phenomenal at Michigan State. I talked to you about the number one ranked game design program. That's game design, super popular among our students, understandably so. Um, just really a lot of like the STEM majors, right? So like we have some that are just thinking of my Smash team. Like we have animal science and there's a statistics major. We have an astrophysicist in our program, right? Like there's a wide variety of different careers and majors, but yeah, a lot of game design, a lot of computer science, engineering, those type of students.
that's that's pretty dope. And also like so you have a varsity team, a JV team, and a club team, no?
Yeah, so
And
we Yeah, so we're basically our structure is so like we kind of have an A and B team for most games, which are like university sponsored, and then the students still run club teams as well. So if you're interested in playing in the club, you can do that too.
great, great. And one last thing that came to my head that is very important for parents and potential students, like what are the internship opportunities that a student can get in Michigan State, like in the eSport program with other companies, or like in Michigan State in general?
Yeah, so we are one of the largest institutions in the entire country. We have 50,000 students here at Michigan State University. So what that means is that we have this really big alumni network. So if you're interested in doing an internship, there's a lot of opportunity for you to actually go and work with or for, fellow Spartans. Our students have internships across the countries from Google to Microsoft to Dell to, pick a company and we probably have Spartans there. I was amazed when I got to Michigan State University and they're like, hey, here's a list of some of our alumni that are just in gaming related things, from Blizzard to Activision to everybody. There are Spartans, Michigan State alumni all across the country. So if you're looking to do internships, Michigan State is a really strong choice to find internships, both within our esports program, because I've had interns that have worked for me in the past, but then also outside of the school as well. Lots of opportunities for internships.
That's great. That's great. And also, just to wrap it up, what is your objectives for the fall 2023?
Yeah, so really, I mean, at its most basic level, we're looking to launch, right? Like this is the first semester ever for our varsity program. So getting all of our teams kind of decided who's going to be on the teams, getting them up and running, getting competition started, getting moved in to our brand new esports spaces that we're building. So launching is really the first step of that. And then two, I'm a huge fan of, I talked about in-person opportunities. I want to get our students to travel. So I want to get them traveling around Michigan. I want to get them traveling around the United States in general. So giving them opportunities to go and see the rest of the country, meet other people, that's a big goal for us as well.
That's great. And what is it about the esport program that you're able to recruit like so many talented players? Okay, because like there's like you don't offer like full scholarships. Your GPA requirements are pretty high. Like there's a not a lot of students that can get in Michigan State. Like how do you, because like some schools are like, yeah, I'll offer full rides for student recruitment, or I offer this and that, but how do you like make the esports program like grow year by year with this high standards?
So I think we have some built-in benefits in that, one, we're a really large school, so there's just a lot of students to kind of choose from when it comes to like a talent base. Two, we're a really good school. And so I'll tell you that, a lot of times, some of your best esports players are also very smart. And so, having, students who are good and strong academically can help make your team stronger. And then I'll also say that there's like a tradition of our teams doing well, right? If you're a talented student and you see that Michigan State has talented students already, talent can attract talent. And so we have a history of talented esports students on campus. And just, going back to the academic thing, not only do we have really good academic programs, but we're really good in the programs that esports students tend to like. So having strong game design or computer science or engineering, like that just helps bring those esports interested students to campus.
That's great, Chris. Well, I mean, like just to wrap it up again, like where can people find you and your program on social media? Like,
Yeah. So the best place is if you have Twitter, at esports at MSU is our official Twitter for Michigan State University Esports. Mine is at Coach Bilski. So feel free to reach out to me there as well. Then we also have an Instagram at esports at MSU. Right now, there's not a ton on it, but as we get students involved this fall, I'm sure there will be a lot more content being made by students on there. And so Twitter at esports at MSU, Instagram at esports at MSU, and then mine is at Coach Bilski.
okay. Well, Chris, thank you so much for your time, and we stay in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.